A piece of Walt Disney Parks and Resorts memorabilia that will never be made again has hit the market. And what is it? It's pieces of the failed Galactic Starcruiser Hotel. Let's talk about that on That Park Place. Hello, I am Jonas J. Campbell, an investigative reporter for That Park Place, and here with me is my Wookiee co-pilot, Mr. Vash Sky. Vash, bright suns to you, sir.
Bright suns to you, sir. I guess that's very applicable today because we're going to be talking about some Star Wars, and unfortunately, one of the only, I think, resorts that have ever actually failed on Walt Disney World property.
That's a very good point. Let's talk about the halcyon days of the Galactic Starcruiser. Disney allegedly selling off parts of closed Star Wars hotel experience. This by WDW Pro of That Park Place. Hey, we know that guy. In one of the most bizarre twists of the week, Disney has timed the announcements of a quasi-garage sale effort for the defunct Star Wars hotel so that it lands just ahead of the Disney board vote. That's an interesting headline right there. It makes me wonder if Kathleen Kennedy is still under the protection of Bob Iger, or has he gone radio silent? By the way, that book that Bob Iger wrote, The Ride of a Lifetime, in which he talks about everybody and their mother, Kathleen Kennedy gets 2 lines, and mostly to say that it was actually George Lucas that hired Kathleen Kennedy.
Oh boy.
All right. According to a new report, Walt Disney Company Parks and Resorts are busy selling off parts of the Galactic Starcruiser, which closed last year. The expensive Star Wars role-playing experience combined a 2-day hotel stay with LARPing, that is live-action role-playing for those who don't know their Urban Dictionary, and theater for a one-of-a-kind endeavor that didn't attract sufficient audiences. Yep, that's true. With costs that soared into the thousands of dollars, families simply did not attend in numbers that could satisfy Disney's needs for keeping it open. After less than 2 years of existence, the Star Wars Galactic Starcruiser closed down and has been vacant of guests ever since. Vash, do you remember what was going on when the Star Wars Galactic Starcruiser closed down, or it was announced that it would be closed down for a tax write-off?
Yeah, I mean, it was a pretty contentious time, right? I mean, they were trying to save money wherever they could.
You don't know, do you? You don't know, do you? Kathleen Kennedy went radio silent because she went into the Cannes Film Festival premiere of Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny.
Okay, now I got
phones
it.
off. By the way, Bob Iger in the same room. He has never been to the Cannes Film Festival before. I dare to say he might not go again, but there he is at the same film festival as Kathleen Kennedy. Radio silent as they announced the closure for a tax write-off of the Galactic Starcruiser.
Around this time, weren't they also announcing that they were going to take off some content on Disney Plus?
Yes, this is also when Willow was removed from Disney
that's
Plus.
Why.
Again, for a tax write-off. This is to the point here where, again, a woman that has only been mentioned very briefly in Bob Iger's book about his ride of a lifetime there at the Walt Disney Company. Right. A woman that goes into, she started her career on Indiana Jones, Raiders of the Lost Ark, which was later retitled to Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark. Raiders, one of the greatest films ever made.
Yes.
A lot of people list that as their favorite film, and there's always a lot of fun watching people argue about whether it's Raiders or Jaws or Jurassic Park. I'll throw that one in there. Hold on to your butts. Kathleen Kennedy is listed as a producer on Indiana Jones, Raiders of the Lost Ark, and now this is supposed to be her big moment here. It's like a full circle thing, and what does she get when she turns her phone back on? Probably a bunch of texts, a bunch of articles. If she's got Google alerts for her name, oh my, here we are. What a moment. Even those of us who don't like to read into quote unquote conspiracy theories about internal civil wars, we all had to go, oh wow. All right. So now, however, San Francisco Gate, I'm thinking that San Francisco SF Gate is reporting that parts of the experience are going up for sale. According to the publication, Disneyland will begin selling alien-style, out-of-this-world, Star Wars-inspired glassware that was used during the hotel's run. These items will be sold as souvenir items for those who attend Disneyland's Star Wars area bar and purchase them along with an adult beverage. There is no announcement that Disney World's own Star Wars land still operating will do the same. Both drinks are available without souvenir glassware, but if you want the martini with something from the Starcruiser, you'll order the Chandrillan Chalice, I do believe that it was the Chandrillan Star Line. I forget the name of the actual in-universe name there. Vash, do you remember it?
Yeah, I think it was the Trindrillan Starline, if I'm not
Oh wait, there
mistaken.
was Chendrilla. The N was not on there. For the spicy cocktail, you'll order the Chendrillan Orb glass. What a word, Chendrillan. Both cocktails and souvenir glasses were served on the Starcruiser's sublight lounge and come emblazoned with a there it is, Chandrilla Starline logo. If I just
Gotcha.
read the entire line here. In the now closed hotel, the storyline was that you were taking an interstellar cruise on the Chandrilla Starline aboard the Halcyon Starcruiser. There's your fill-in for the little joke I made earlier. The number of souvenir glasses is limited to only 2 per person, but even still, these will surely not last long. For even as the demand for Galactic Starcruiser was low, we can't imagine there are many of these glasses in existence. There it is, right there. Disney is really pushing hard on adult beverages being served in fanciful containers in order to sell those fanciful containers. This reminds me, of course, the $5,000 Cantino or whatever that thing was that looked like an ice cream maker. That thing opens up and you get several different adult beverages out of it. But it also came with a tour of Skywalker Ranch, at least. What a ridiculous thing to sell.
Yeah, there was a lot of extra cost options associated with the, the Galactic Starcruiser that made headlines, but I think in the wrong ways, unfortunately. And it was only adding to this perception that it was only for the elite few to actually go to this thing, and that really took out a lot of the energy and enthusiasm for this, especially when you also consider the fact that it was kind of done a little bit on the cheap. There may have been some cuts made, especially as it was being developed during that kind of pandemic era right there. We know a lot of things had changed because of that timeline right there, but the company invested so much money into this thing. I mean, we're talking hundreds of millions of dollars in terms of research and development and so forth. This was Chapek's, from what I understand, his darling, and he wanted this thing everywhere. He wanted this thing in every single resort around the world. Interesting, because Disneyland Forward actually recently made reference to, hey, if we get the zoning approvals in Anaheim, we can necessarily make a Galactic Starcruiser like experience. So the company was all about this thing up until it wasn't.
That's true. And by the way, I want to emphasize 2 things that you just said. One, you said that it was ridiculously expensive, but that still does not change the fact that the Walt Disney Company tried to do this as cheaply as possible. And I don't mean as inexpensively as possible. Cheap is the emphasis there. But that being said, let's move on and see if there's anything else to add of particular interest. It seems bizarre to this author that Disney Parks is letting this go public days ahead of the Disney board vote at the shareholders meeting. Rumors are swirling that Nelson Peltz may actually win a seat on the board. The perception that Disney is having a blue light special or going out of business sale for the Star Wars hotel merchandise is not the sort of public relations maneuver we would have expected, but that appears to be exactly what is happening. And of course, George Lucas's prior position that making magic isn't for amateurs seems a bit off-putting in light of his latest Disney Parks PR stunt. Wow.
Right.
So here we are. This is, again, just a few days before the Disney Company annual shareholders meeting. There appears to be a vote of no confidence, to quote the prequels here, in Kathleen Kennedy, yet she still has a job at the Walt Disney Company. There was no mention of Kathleen Kennedy or minimal mentions of Kathleen Kennedy in the announcements of the Mando movie, which is going to be directed and written by Jon Favreau. We know from our sources, take it with a grain of salt, that Dave Filoni is supposed to be plussing that script. And there are rumors, well, I don't know what we're allowed to share. There are rumors that the Mando movie might be having some trouble. But of course, you're going to want to stay tuned to the WDW Pro channel for that. Vash, do you think that there's going to be a resurgence in this $5,000 a night Star Wars experience for Star Wars diehards that are also not looking for Luke Skywalker to show up?
Well, I don't I mean, Star Wars themed, I think that's a little bit of a stretch. I think there will be a resurgence of this idea. However, I think Disney patented quite a bit and invested a lot of research and development and time into this thing. I think we'll see aspects of this, maybe even a kind of stay in interactive experience itself, come back in some form, but it won't take this. That is absolutely for sure right there. And I think the concept has a lot of merit to it. I think, could you imagine maybe staying one night in like a haunted mansion type experience? Or one could think about, hey, what if another company got a hold of this same interactive technology and let's say Universal had a stay at Hogwarts? That might be cool. I think there are ways to integrate some of this stuff, this kind of living experience stuff, in other forms, but it's just I guess leave it to Disney to screw it up in spectacular fashion.
Yep, that's a very good point. But of course, we want to throw this to our audience here. What do you think of the Galactic Starcruiser situation? Are you going to be picking up one of these glasses? Are you going to be picking up one of these glasses and throwing away that poisonous liquor? Of course, I would never encourage drinking on this channel. This is a respectable establishment. That being said, like this video if you like this video. Of course, we do appreciate your comments, and consider subscribing to That Park Place for all the news that should be fun.
Thanks for watching That Park Place News. For more information, consider checking out www.thatparkplace.com. And don't forget to subscribe, share, like, and send this out on your favorite social media accounts.